93.1 Kiss FM. Hi, it's Monica. I am at the El Paso Museum of Art, downtown El Paso, because we've got a great star performing this weekend, tomorrow as a matter of fact, at noon. Azul Barrientos. Welcome to El Paso. You've been here before, though.
Yes, I love it. I'm in love. We're in love.
So tell me, I actually didn't know much about you until I started reading up on you, and I thought, oh my gosh, I felt like you were one of the characters in Coco, the Disney movie, come to life.
I would love to. That would be amazing, actually.
Tell me all about what's going on with your music and how you're trying to bridge old folk Hispanic Mexican culture music to modern times.
Well, I think that, it's one of my passions, really, to showcase Mexican music is so rich, and we all know it, and we, from the mariachis to son jarocho to the boleros to, we have so much, and there's so much that actually has been written by Mexican composers. So one of the things that I love to do is kind of like bring back elements of not only traditional Mexican but also Latin American music, and sort of just to present it. And I think that once you present it and sort of tell the story about it, like this is kind of what was going on at the time. Listen to this song, isn't it great? It's a way of kind of representing the history, and it's like, oh yeah, because it's music that is kind of in the background all the time. We've heard it, we've heard La Cucaracha a million times, but there's different ways of doing La Cucaracha.
Yes. So how did you get started down this path?
Well, as a child, I started with classical music, piano, all of that, and then when it was time for me to decide, okay, what's going to be your career, my family was very traditional. They were like, okay, great, you're going to go to university and do your university career. And I was like, well, no, I want to be a musician. They're like, no, honey, that's just for a hobby. So I went to the university for a little while, and I was like, no, I told you this is not what I want. And, a different journey kind of started to really wanting to do this and figuring it out how I was going to do it by myself, kind of like in that path. So I went for a little bit to the National School of Music, then little things, and eventually, it all led me to San Antonio, where I live now, and I've been the artist in residence of the Esperanza Peace and Justice Center there.
So tell me about that organization.
So it's a great organization. They do so much that sometimes it's like hard to say this is what they do, because they do many things. But one of the things that they do is preserve the culture, preserve the culture, and even if it's whatever that means in the moment. For example, it could be like actual culture, it could be saving landmarks, it could be helping or opening spaces for la gente, instead of keeping it for private, or it's just like they do so much. Yes.
Right, for the community.
Right.
And so what kind of support have you seen for musicians like you?
Well, you mean in general?
Yes.
Or it varies, but I think it's amazing. And honestly, I think that movie Coco really helped to bring children back to that attention of like, oh, Mexican music is great and Mexican culture is awesome. So every time, if they're little kids and they see me, they're like, oh, are you a princess?
Right. Like you come to life completely, 100%.
So it's great.
So what do you do to inspire yourself for this kind of music?
So many things. Obviously, I think that thinking about my own ancestry, my mestizo ancestry, thinking about the struggles, obviously, that my grandma, for example, went through, and thinking how would she, if she saw me right now in the audience, what would she want me to say? Like, what can I say to make her feel that she's actually on stage, that this is, we are all, I'm just a bridge of whatever the culture we all are.
Well, I think it's also, like you mentioned, the struggles that your grandmother faced at the time. We have different struggles now. I mean, obviously, our quality of life is better,
right,
but there are so many other issues at hand.
Exactly.
Does that transpire into your music?
Yeah, I think one time I was talking not too long ago to a friend, and they were saying, well, we were talking about activism, and what that means and what that is. And I said, well, sometimes activism also is just in nowadays, like speaking in Spanish in a full Mexican outfit, or presenting yourself fully Mexican, just because you never know, especially if you're not, on a stage is different, but you're just out and about, is a statement, don't exactly know what kind of who is going to be there and where, depending on where you are. So I think it's a way of kind of like reminding everyone, like, yeah, we're all here and it's great.
Yes, completely. It's been a melting pot of America
Exactly.
for so many years, and we should just coexist and dabble in our different cultures and stuff, because it is rich and there's so much beauty in it.
Absolutely.
So tell me about the music that you're performing now. Do you have a new album coming out? What's going on?
So we just released one last September, and it's called Nuestro Corazón, and it's a mixture of beautiful music. Some of it is traditional, some of it is original, and it's all basically Latin American. Focusing on the heart of Latin America in a way. Un tango, una canción ranchera. Like it's just that kind of like a mixture of music. And we are working on our next album, but we're in a very early stages of it. So we're just kind of like seeing what's next.
And where are you going to be recording?
Well, that's the thing. We're trying to see, I don't know yet.
Well, El Paso has great recording studios. I'm just letting you know.
I think we're going to try to see one.
All right. Well, let me know, girl. I'll go visit you and hang out and stuff.
Please.
So you're going to be performing tomorrow right here at the El Paso
Yes.
Museum of Art. And what time? At noon?
At noon.
At
yes.
noon? So come on by. Is it free?
It is free.
Free. You can't beat that. So lots of stuff happening in downtown El Paso. Please come and visit with Azul Barrientos. She's a beautiful singer, and I promise you're going to fall in love with her. I already did. Thank you so much, Azul.
Love you.
Thanks, you guys.